Here in Mayaguez, Puerto Rico, preparations are underway for the 5th mission of PRINUL, the Puerto Rico International Undersea Laboratory Program. 100 feet down on the ocean floor, 4 aquanauts will live for 2 weeks in the habitat La Chalupa in a program developed and operated by MRDF. The 4-man crew for this mission consists of Dr. Al Waterfield from the University of Rhode Island, Dr. Jim Miller from NOAA, MRDF President Jan Koblik, and Dr. Zeppo Colamayan of the Puerto Rico Nuclear Center. The life support vessel for La Chalupa underwent a general cleanup while the last of the supplies were being secured. The many assistant scientists and support divers were all checking gear and testing equipment. The La Chalupa habitat is essentially a 20 by 50 foot barge. It contains 4 8 by 20 foot cylinders within the hull. 2 are for ballast. The other 2 are the working and living areas. The deck storage is for tanks of air and nitrogen and other equipment, including a 2-man wet sub. Below, each living chamber is filled with scientific and electronic equipment, drastically reducing the space available inside, but allowing enough room for the aquanauts to function efficiently. Much of the equipment was on loan from NASA. Where possible, equipment serves dual purposes. The waterbeds are not only comfortable, but serve as a backup for fresh water, should the habitat lose its support buoy. By early evening, the last personal equipment was checked and packed. And after a last medical checkup, final technical details were reviewed to be sure everything possible had been taken into account. The command van and support van were ready to be moved 30 miles to the dive site in the morning. Living at a depth of 100 feet for 2 weeks requires enormous stamina and physical fitness. In addition to regular exercise, tests were conducted to establish baseline reference points for undersea physical studies. A radio check to the tow vessel confirms that the habitat and support vessel are ready to go. Within 1.5 hours, the habitat is 10 miles offshore. Once at the site, the support divers enter the water and prepare the habitat for its descent. The 36-foot unmanned support vessel for La Chalupa supplies all of the electricity, compressed air, water, vent hose, and radio link to the habitat via an umbilical cable. The divers make sure the many valves are locked in order to prevent accidental opening, and the hydraulic legs are adjusted to level the habitat. While outside the habitat, everything is proceeding smoothly. Inside, a dangerous situation has developed. Jan Koblik, the mission habitat engineer, notifies the surface.
I'm calling you on the emergency radio in the living compartment. I have not turned on the electricity yet because I have a very high O2 factor. It's off scale. We'll keep you posted on this radio until such time as I feel it's safe to power up. Over.
Just keep me posted, and you're in good shape using that radio. No sparks there, okay?
Once the oxygen level was returned to normal, outside research projects began. For the next 2 weeks, many science projects will run simultaneously, but the primary purpose of the mission is to test new excursion tables that would allow scientists to explore the continental shelf to depths of 265 feet using inexpensive nitrogen-oxygen after being saturated at 100 feet. Another important project was to field test new underwater communications equipment. The new system links diver to diver, or diver to habitat and habitat to surface, or any such combination. Because color varies greatly in deep ocean depths, finding the best colors for detection, retrieval, or concealment is a complicated procedure. After working 8 to 10 hours in the water, it was comforting to swim back to the habitat, take a hot shower, and relax. The day before, Koblik and Waterfield had to bail out of their mini-sub when it failed and headed to the surface. The next morning, 2 Puerto Rican fishermen reported a very strange catch.
Being fast as we can go in a boat, being followed by an airplane, spotting the reef hunter. The reef hunter is an underwater submarine, a wet submarine, worth about $5,000. Got away from 2 Aquanauts yesterday.
Back at La Chalupa, things continued along normally. Dr. Wells arrived with the help of his wife Anne and set up the elaborate equipment for measuring the oxygen levels of the reef. Similar to land, the reef has a delicate balance of plant and animal life, each dependent on the other for existence. The general health and condition of the reef can be measured as the oxygen levels change with the changes of light and temperature. Eventually, this information, combined with other, will allow scientists to learn exactly what conditions are necessary to maintain that delicate balance. In all, 808 observations were made over a 9-day period. After 2 weeks of intensive research and some precarious moments, the 4 aquanauts posed for a last group picture. They proved men could live and work for sustained periods at over 100 feet, breathing inexpensive nitrogen oxygen, opening the exploration of the continental shelf for science. It's been a very successful project, as reflected in the happy, smiling faces of the crew. Returning the habitat to the surface is smooth and efficient, and an exciting ride for the aquanauts, who remain in the chamber under pressure. Like the early astronauts, the aquanauts face a period of further isolation before they can return to civilization. In this case, a 48-hour decompression period was required. With the 2 days of decompression over, the aquanauts are greeted by the warmth and color of the topside world and congratulated by family and friends.